Hello and welcome to Business Reporter's Best of British campaign. Even though Cash Converters has recently celebrated its 30th anniversary, the business continues to go from strength to strength as it adjusts to the wants and demands of its customers. With the recent acquisition of its largest UK franchisee, the business has added a portfolio of 40 plus corporate stores to its existing 140 plus franchise store network in the UK. With the addition of not only the stores to the fold, but also the experienced senior management team from the Capital Cash Group, the UK has positioned itself for future growth as it looks to cement its position as the leading cash converters network in Europe. Today we are joined by the new CEO of Cash Converters and the previous head of Capital Cash, Carl Murray, to discuss how the business plans to use the acquisition to enhance its customer offering and increase its capability for expansion and growth. In the introduction we talked about this whole new era. Give me an idea of what this is going to look like.
The new era for the franchisees, and it splits into two sets of customers, which I think we talked about earlier on, in that we have our franchisees, which is one set of customers. We then have our franchisees' customers, which are the customers we serve on the high street, which is a different level of customers. And I think it means different things for both those sets of customers, if that makes sense. So our franchisees, what does it mean to them? Well, we bring with us a massive strength, a massive width of experience. We bring with us a senior management team. I have 6 within my senior management team that we bring to the table that have over 100 years of experience between them. It's equally about the experience and the positivity of that experience, but it's equally, you often forget, it's as important the mistakes that we've made in that 100 years and learned from, so that we don't go and repeat those same mistakes again. So we bring that breadth and that width with us that will help and support the franchise network. We'll grow and expand the franchise network. We'll benefit them from the point of view of the brand, the breadth of the footprint within the UK, and the support that we can give them. And then equally, it's about the alignment of our franchisees with the franchisor. And then finally, from a customer perspective, which is a different level altogether, it's about expanding our footprint within the UK. We offer a greater width of store. We'll bring more customers in, which will benefit the brand and strengthen the brand. And we'll be able to offer a wider range of products that we've been able to develop because we have the economy of scale to do that. And we'll be able to develop and grow that as a business, which will benefit our franchisees' customers in the longer term.
There's a lot of things in there, so I'd like to delve into individuals a bit more deeply, if I may. And first of all, talking about the franchisees. So how will this new era benefit them? What will they get out of this new era?
Well, I think we bring with us, as I said, a real strength of operational team from many different angles. So if you look at the team that we're bringing with us, and that's at many levels, but if we take it at the senior level, we have an operations director who has run 42 stores. We've developed that chain of stores from 6 stores when I took it over in 2004 to a 42 store successful chain, run very professionally. We've made lots of mistakes, as I said earlier on, during that, but we've learned from those. And what we've been able to do is develop a business and a business model that we'll be able to support the franchisees with to build successful businesses for them. We invest very, very heavily in training. We believe fundamentally in training. It's one of our core pillars in terms of what we do as an organisation. We built an awful lot of training material that we'd be able to bring and share with the franchise network as a whole, that the franchise network doesn't necessarily have, or the individual franchisees don't have the economy of scale or the breadth to be able to develop in their own right. We then have expanded into the jewellery market and the pawnbroking market in a very big way, and invested heavily in technology, in methodology, in ways to do things, in training, in development. And we're stepping into the prestige watch marketplace. We're stepping into the high-end luxury handbag market. And we've been able to do that because, again, we have the breadth of experience, we have the economy of scale to be able to invest in those things. And we can bring all of that to the franchisee network that otherwise would not have existed. And as I said, you know, the sheer fact that we are going to expand and open greenfield sites will give the brand a far wider breadth in the UK and far greater exposure.
As we know, With this new era, it's change, and change sometimes creates uncertainty. How well are your franchisees prepared for this change?
I think they're very well prepared for it. I think within the UK, we've got 184 stores, which is made up of around and about 60 franchisees. Those franchisees have a massive level of experience of the UK market. Some of them have been within the network for close on 30 years. In fact, some of them have been there for 30 years. So the breadth of experience that they bring with them is incredible. Their durability, they've been through many changes in the economy. They've been through depressions, they've been through COVID, they've been through many things that have tried to set their business back, and yet they've been there. They're a strong team of people. They work together very well. They work as one. They work for the unity of all. It's an unusual franchise network in as much that they work for a common goal. The way that the business is set up, each store has a geographic territory which is limited by postcode. So they're not competing against each other. They have a common interest, and therefore if one succeeds, the others succeed with them. So it's about a bond that's been created over those 30 years. And it's been run like that from the very outset, from the founders all the way through the organisation. So the team spirit in this franchise network is incredible, and that's replicated by my team and my team that I'm bringing in, that equally has that strength and that durability, and has been there and has supported each other through many different periods of time. As I said, Capital Cash, we took it over in 2004 when it had half a dozen stores, and here we are with a 42-store successful chain. So I think the teams at both levels will benefit, and one will benefit from the other as well.
You talked earlier on about alignment. Can you give us a little bit more of an idea of what you mean by that?
I think alignment comes from a number of factors. I think the franchisees themselves are interested in their stores, and they're businessmen at the end of the day. They're interested in the profitability of their business and how their business develops. Historically, the franchisor has not been involved in stores recently, and therefore its objectives in life are slightly misaligned with, and not badly misaligned, but they are clearly interested in their franchisees performing well, because ultimately they have happy franchisees. But their profitability and their underlying business strength doesn't come from the same outcome. So if that business performs extremely well, the franchisor doesn't necessarily benefit from it. By bringing to the whole, we have bring 42 corporate stores. Our objectives, our aims and our outcomes are totally aligned with those of the franchisees, which is the underlying profitability of those businesses. So we will be doing everything to develop that profitability, which at the end of the day will also enhance the profitability of the remaining stores within the network. So it aligns it very much more than it was ever aligned in the past.
And what about the brand itself, Cash Converters? How will that support franchisees?
The brand has a massive strength. It has 93% spontaneous recognition within the UK. It's probably even better known in Australia, although Australia is on the other side of the world. But that recognition is also repeated through many of the European countries, whether that be in Spain, whether that be in France. So the brand is extremely well known, and I think sometimes we all forget about how important something is to us until we don't have it any longer. And over the years, over the 30 years that the business has been in the UK, there are a number of franchisees for many different times and for different reasons have left the chain thinking, oh, I can do this on my own. I know how to do this now. I've learned all of that. I don't need my franchisor anymore. I'll go off on my own and I'll do it. Most of those businesses have failed, and most of them have failed because they've left and they didn't realise what they had. They didn't realise the strength of the brand and how that brand supported them, how it's kept their business on track, how it's kept their business aligned, how it's developed their business. And therefore, I think it's often that you don't realise what you've lost until you've lost it.
Pawnbroking is one of the oldest businesses on the high street, yet the high street has gone through a tremendous amount of turbulence even pre-COVID. What is it about the industry that's made it so strong and it's able to survive everything that's been happening?
As you say, pawnbroking is an extremely old business in the UK, and I think there's a number of factors within that, Alistair. I think, first of all, we are a community-led business, so we deliver a service to a community on the high street, and that's our place. That's where one of our strengths is being on that high street, and we've seen it over the past few years, especially with the pandemic, the number of businesses that have shuttered, the number of businesses that have closed, the number of businesses that have exited the high street. And yet we have developed and grown, our footprints expanded. And I think part of that is the community service that we deliver. We offer access to finance to individuals that otherwise may be excluded. There are probably two strings to that bow. One is those individuals that are possibly excluded from the financial economy. The others are individuals that have access to assets that want to realise cash or want to realise speedily or quickly or easy access to funds. An example of that would be a business, for example, a builder. And a builder who has invoiced everything, hasn't been paid because for whatever reason, gets to payroll at the end of the month and suddenly needs to raise some capital to pay payroll. The markets in the UK don't exist for him to raise that capital in the time frame that he has, but if he has assets he can use to raise that capital in the short term, we can help him with that problem and he can overcome that payroll. His business will survive, it will succeed because he'll eventually get paid and he'll be able to repay that back. So it's two strings really to that bow in terms of a community-led business that we deliver on the high street. We also deliver high quality second-hand goods at very affordable prices when you compare it to the recommended retail price. So I think, you know, if you bought a car today and drove it off the garage forecourt, it's second-hand. The tyres only just touched the ground, but it's second-hand. If you went into high-end jewellers and bought a Rolex watch today and brought it out the shop, it's second-hand. You've touched it, it's second-hand. We can sell those items at a fraction of the cost that a high street retailer can sell them at. We sell them as second-hand, totally refurbished, fully guaranteed and backed by a very strong brand in the UK. And that for when you're in a difficult, turbulent market, it is important to a number of people because it reduces their outgoings and their costs.
You've talked about your role in the community, and of course we've seen this effect in the pandemic, you know, and it's really heightened people's awareness of the high street and how it struggled and so on. Where do you see your place now as a result of the last few years, you know, in terms of position when it comes to the community?
I think our community position will only grow and it will only strengthen. The high street, as you've seen, Alistair, has changed significantly over the course of the last few years, and it will continue to do that. And I'd love to have a crystal ball and be able to sit here and tell you what that would look like in 20 or 30 years' time. We can all estimate what that might be, and I think it will change and it will continue to change and evolve and morph. And we need to be able to adapt with that and to morph and adapt as we go through that. And I think we are capable of doing that. We've shown that in the past, and we will continue to do that. Our place is there for the community to deliver those services that we talked about. And equally, I think, you know, we have a very strong underlying ESG backbone to our business that we've never really played to, we've never shouted about. But if you look at us, we recycle a phenomenal amount of product, and we're probably one of the highest recyclers in the UK, yet we've never really talked about it, but it's something that we do. And again, that is another community service that we're delivering. So I think it's about us adapting, being able to have that speed and that agility to be able to adapt as we go along and continue to do that as the marketplace changes.
And finally, for people watching this interview, what key things would you like them to remember and to be aware of when it comes to this new era?
I think it depends on the person watching, but I think from the respective different levels, we have our team, which is the team that I bring with me and the team that existed within Cash Converters and Cash Converters UK. And for them, it's an exciting time because it brings massive opportunity for all of those for the future, looking at where we want to go, how we want to develop the business and how we want to take the business forward. We're looking to expand and grow. So for that team, I think the opportunity is exciting, it's massive. For the franchisees equally, the opportunity for us to expand the business, to expand the footprint, to bring all of that experience with us and enhance the business, to help them to develop their profitability, to even for some of them to allow them exit routes. There are some of them that have been in the business for a long time and don't have an exit plan. All of a sudden they have a franchisor that's running corporate stores that gives them potentially that exit plan as well. And then for our stakeholders and the people around us, obviously it's an exciting time because we're here to develop the business. We're not here to stand still. We're here to develop the business, to take it forward, to expand its footprint, potentially in the UK, certainly in the UK, but potentially equally in Europe as well. So again, exciting times for our stakeholders.
Carl Murray from Cash Converters, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.